folks, welcome again here to TPSN's Crimson Conversion. I'm your host, Jake Slobodnik, joined by Stephen Langdon Jr. and Jeff Hart, your IUP TV sports commentary crew. And guys, I know it's been a while since we've done one of these, but we had to come back this week just because of playoffs starting, and we wanted to do a little bit of bracketology with Division II basketball because we all know that that's what we love to do. So before we get into things, we want to thank you all for the support for our last video we uploaded with the Off the Court segment with Carolyn Appleby. It was a great episode altogether. Carolyn was a great sport about everything, so just great things all around. But yeah, let's get to today's show, which is breaking down the women's and men's basketball brackets. We already had a few games played out in both sections. Just to give it a little bit of a recap, Seton Hill beat Pitt Johnstown on Monday. These are all games on Monday in the first round.
Women's.
Yeah, the women's.
Make sure it's women's.
Yeah, okay. We'll clarify it's women's. Monday results. Westchester defeated Millersville. No surprise there. Lockhaven beat East Stroudsburg. And Gannon upset Edinburgh. And now it's shaping up for the quarterfinals on Wednesday, which will actually happen before we release the episode. Seton Hill will take on IUP in a rematch of the last game of the regular season. Westchester will take on Bloomsburg, Lockhaven against Kutztown, and Gannon against Cal U. Lots of good games happening. We'll get to the men's in a little bit, but guys, let's break down the women's bracket first of all, starting with the first game on the bracket, Seton Hill versus IUP, a rematch of IUP's senior day pretty much, where Seton Hill actually came in and upset the Crimson Hawks at home for the final game of the season. It was a poor display of offense from the IUP Crimson Hawks altogether. But Seton Hill, two names stand out more to me than anyone, Megan Morisic and Courtney Cecere for the Griffins. They just put on an offensive performance and capitalized on IUP's miscues. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Seton Hill just looked like they couldn't miss a shot at points during the game. I saw a lot of three-pointers were just made. No matter where they were beyond the arc, it just seemed like it was going in, and they just shot very efficiently from the arc. And I think that was the big reason why they won the game, because as you look at the stats, they did shoot the same field goal percentage, but looking at it overall, three-pointers played a big difference in that game because Seton Hill made a lot more than IUP did.
I think the one word that comes to mind in that game, defense and lack thereof, which led to IUP not being able to actually create their offense. We've religiously said throughout the season, and I know Jake and I in the broadcasting of the games, I even noticed IUP was not getting the steals inside. IUP is used to when opponents go inside the paint, they swat away the ball, whether it be Wallasick or Appleby, and Appleby leads the team in steals right now. So they're very, adept and adroit at getting steals and then getting them on the fast break. IUP wasn't getting on the fast break that game, and when they did, they were very hesitant to. I noticed a couple fast breaks where they would look to just kind of stop. I know Appleby and Lexi Griggs had a couple miscued passes, at least 2 or 3 that game. They didn't seem to be on the same page, and they just looked off, and they didn't, like Steven was saying, when they shot from 3, it almost was like they weren't ready for it, and the fact that, Morisic would just come up and just pull up, and there was not that much. It wasn't tight defense on her, which is very not typical of the Crimson Hawks. I think a lot of it's mental right now. I think they're in their own heads because of that loss to Cal U, and they lost another. They lost that second time. It's kind of like the men's team when they lost to Super Rock, and then a couple games later lost to Mercyhurst. So I think a lot of it's mental right now. But my big thing was they defensively looked deficient and were not creating offense through their defense.
Let's also not forget that the poor, going back to three-point shooting game, the poor offense production from Lauren Wallasick. What is it? She missed 3, or not, actually way more than that. Wasn't it like 8 3-pointers in a row?
Yeah, it was
something
pretty
like that.
Brutal. I know she was 0-7 at one point.
Yeah,
from beyond the arc.
It was.
It was hard to watch. It's one of those games that you kind of need to play the mid-range a little bit more because she is very efficient from downtown, but when you're not efficient from the arc beyond the arc, I think you need to move a little bit more inside, and they just looked all sorts of confused.
Well, it bothers me because, like you said, Steven, to not move away from the 3 game because we already know Griggs and Brittany Robinson are dominant inside and can get you points in the paint. But it seems like when we didn't have our outside game going at all, we didn't have a backup option to go to. And if you've noticed with Lauren Wallasick and we were talking about it on Sports Talk Live on Friday at 5 p.m. on 90.1 WIP
4
FM.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Ooh, sorry, I was thinking when the show ends. My apologies. I was talking, Wallasick has looked off the last couple of games. I remember a couple games ago she had 7 assists, but I think she only had 5 or 6 points. It was not a lot. And just her shooting performance as of late has not looked very normal. She's normally very adept at hitting those wide open threes. She averages really well, her field goal percentage at 3. So I don't know what it's been. Maybe it's a mental block. Maybe something's off. Maybe she has an injury. We don't know. She has not looked the same for me because usually she was kind of like that second option when Appleby wasn't open. They would go to Wallasick, and I just haven't seen that.
Here's the biggest stat that I look forward to finding out if they could achieve that or, just completely fail at. But they are ranked 5th in the nation in assists per game. They average over 15 assists per game. That's insane. And, their assists were way down in the last game. But you can't really look at assists and say, oh, yeah, they won or lost the game on assists. But just a small little fact, too.
Well, and the assist numbers would have been up had people been hitting the open threes that we were getting.
Yeah.
Yet we couldn't shoot in the ocean that game. It was just, like I said, I think it's mental because I don't think anyone questions the talent, the coaching, and the personnel that we have on the team. It's just a matter of we need to get out of our own heads right now.
And I think what really played a big importance factor in that was the fact that it was a senior day, so they were trying to focus more on the seniors, and they already clinched a playoff berth. They pretty much clinched everything, so I think it was more of a lax game from the Crimson Hawks. They were just more focused on the atmosphere itself of senior night, which kind of took away from their focus of the game a little bit, and ultimately led to their lapses and miscues on offense and defense.
Here's the one good thing going into the game. You just got done playing Seton Hill.
So you know what to expect.
You know what to expect, exactly. And let's not forget that Seton Hill had one game in between. We're getting into the PSAC playoffs now, and we have very short breaks. And as far as IUP goes, they're kind of fully fresh. If you really think about
Seton Hill's going to be tired when we play.
Exactly.
They just
exactly.
played.
They did pretty much beat up Pitt Johnstown with no problem, but that's besides the point. You still have to go in there. You still have to go play the game. Yeah, exactly. Travel. So, you're traveling another 2 hours to go play
just to come
IUP.
right back here. So
just come right back here.
It's no new environment for them. But now that we've analyzed a little bit, let's get some predictions in. Steven, why don't you start? What's your prediction for the Seton Hill IUP game?
Yeah, I got IUP going ahead. Just the overall travel. I just think that the amount of time in between games, I know just from someone who's played sports that not a lot of time in between, games or matches or anything like that. It could be very tough on your body, very tough. I know they're conditioned. They're well-conditioned at this point, but
Absolutely.
Just as far as wear and tear on the body, it's going to be very tough to come back after playing with a day rest.
Yeah, I got IUP too. It's that whole travel thing, and I think IUP now is more of a chip on their shoulder. Now that they got put in their place on senior day when they lost to Seton Hill. Nothing bad against Seton Hill. They're a great team above 500, and they have great players. But IUP, they were playing relaxed. They were playing down to their opponent, and ultimately it came back to bite them, and they lost. So I think this is going to be a big pick-me-up game for IUP. So I got the Crimson Hawks.
I have the Crimson Hawks, but my reasoning is a little different. I'm going to give it to Coach. I think Coach Tom McConnell is going to focus these girls. He's going to get their mindset on straight because they have the talent. They have all the ability. They could go all the way, I think. I think they have a deep roster. You have bench players. You have great starters. You have what you need. And I'm going to use one of his quotes that he gave us, and we all love it. 2 most important days of your life, the day you're born and the day you figure out why. We're going to figure out why this women's team is here this year. And I think it's going to be this game. They're coming off that loss on senior day. That had to have hurt them. And I think Coach McConnell is going to focus that anger and that frustration out on Seton Hill in this rematch.
I did see Appleby leave the KCAC, and she did not look very pleased whatsoever. And I can understand why. Coming even as a fan, I know how displeasing that is, especially on senior night.
I was about to say,
especially on senior night.
Your final regular season game, the Crimson and Gray, and it suffer a big fat L to Seton Hill. Granted, a good team nonetheless. I'd rather see them lose to a good team than get upset. That's always the number one thing.
Absolutely.
But all of us have IUP going forward next. Just a little bit more of abbreviated predictions going forward. Next game, Westchester Bloomsburg Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I have the Westchester Rams going forward just because of their prestigious athletic program. Pretty much never ceases to. I always stumble upon this phrase, but it seems like they're always strong no matter where they go. And Bloomsburg,
it's a very even matchup.
Yeah,
looking at the standings, it's a very, very even matchup.
But Westchester was ranked higher than Bloomsburg, I believe, in the Eastern Conference and the Eastern Division. So that's always got to play a big factor. I believe they were the two teams that had even conference records, but their overall records were
Yep.
there's a sizable difference. So and Westchester was of course the one on top. So I'm gonna go with the Rams superseding the Bloomsburg Huskies.
I got Bloomsburg in this one. I like Bloomsburg at home. I don't know. I just feel as though Bloomsburg can take this one away. And Westchester, a very good team. Both very good teams. I mean, you don't make the playoffs unless you're a solid team. But I don't know. I just got feeling Bloom in this one.
Tiebreaker.
Bloomsburg.
All right.
I'm going to go with Bloomsburg for a couple of reasons. One, they're ranked higher than Westchester, so not by much, but still number 2 in the East. Westchester's number 3. Home court advantage plays a huge role.
That's what I looked at.
Westchester's also going to be tired because they just played a Monday night game. And when we played Bloomsburg, when I watch Bloomsburg play, there's something about them that I like more than Westchester and trust them more in a, postseason situation. There's something about the way they're coached that I just get the feeling that they're going to be able to carry themselves better in those situations. I couldn't tell you why. It's just one of those things when I watch, there's something about Bloomsburg I just like better.
I mean, fair enough assumptions. It's not like we're making out there assumptions. So that's the best thing about bracketology is they can go any way,
No,
especially
they're
with
two.
the amount of talent that these leagues have.
Looking at the brackets, they're the 2 most even teams
Yeah.
here. So the most even matchup for Wednesday.
So it could go either way.
Exactly.
Well, and to be honest, and that's why I'm gonna, home court advantage and the fact that Westchester did just play.
Yeah,
a
they
game,
just
that's
played.
gonna play a huge role into it.
I mean, it's a. Oh, I just hit
Yeah,
something on the
you
table.
got a bit of travel too. You got a
But-
hour and a half,
I was
2
about to
hour
say
drive.
A little bit of a drive, right there.
Yeah.
But I bet IUP is going to be watching that very carefully. IUP and Seton Hill both. Depending on who wins that, they will face each other in the semifinals on Saturday. Moving on to the lower half of the next part of the bracket, I have Lock Haven and Kutztown next. Kutztown is an easy pick for me just because Kutztown, I think they are the number 1 team in the Eastern Division. Lock Haven, pretty much down there. Lock Haven, they just played. Kutztown is going to have home field advantage. I'm a steal page out of Jeff's book, which I really just think Kutztown overall has the upper advantages. They are the IUP of the bottom seed.
Yeah, definitely. I got Kutztown as well. Lock Haven, I mean, they came in as the number 4 seed, but I don't know, just
They barely got by East Stroudsburg, who's
Yeah.
the number 5 seed. So it's
Lock Haven was pretty. I mean, they had an okay year, just an average year for them. But Kutztown, great team, should go far in the PSAC playoffs. So I got Kutztown.
Dang, y'all suck. You took my analysis. I got Kutztown. You made it not interesting. Why couldn't one of you have said Lock Haven? Now
you didn't trademark
Because
the race,
we're
so we
lo-
could say it.
Because I've seen.
Well,
Lock
I feel
Haven.
like we're jerks now. We're just hating on Lock Haven. Yeah, no, it's an easy pick for me. It's Kutztown. I mean, Lock Haven, like they got by on the skin of their teeth against East Stroudsburg.
All right.
And to me, it's no question. Like Jake said, Kutztown has just been dominant this season.
Absolutely, topping the division. It's going to be a breeze for Kutztown.
I mean, Kutztown did have a very even record with Bloomsburg and Westchester as far as the conference record, but just overall record. Overall record.
It takes precedence after that. But moving on to maybe another whitewash game that I think is a pretty predictable contest. Gannon against Cal U. Gannon just got by Edinburgh. They upset them 71-67, so they do have the underdog factor within them. But Cal U, come on now. Tied for the best record in the PSAC West with IUP. Well, not tied with the best record, but they're up there in competition-wise. So I have Cal U blowing Gannon out of the water. They're just a prestigious basketball program. They have a first-round bye. Cal U is the easy favorite for this for me.
Yeah, Cal U, easy game. If Cal U doesn't win by 15, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, it's a yes for me. It's definitely Cal U. I mean, they only won by 4 against a much lower ranked Gannon team. I'm sorry. They did have that upset against them, bro. My apologies, but I think that's about. I think that's about as far as they're gonna get.
Hey, that's a good team up there in Edinburgh. But
Yeah, but my thing is like. It's hard to be an underdog and just come in and beat, all the best teams because it probably took all they had to, skid by Edinburgh in that game. And I can't imagine them doing it against Cal U, who has beaten IUP twice.
Well,
now.
Cal U lost to Seton Hill. That's another fact, and I know Cal U has lost to a few more underdogs, but
Yeah, they lost to Slippery Rock too earlier this season. So I mean,
And
it's
Slippery Rock
not
didn't
out
even
of
make
the
the final
realm of
cut.
possibility. It's just more or less.
it's the more realistic choice.
Yeah,
it is.
honestly.
Especially
It's
in
a
a
more
competition like
realistic
this.
choice.
Man, it'd be easier if we did the first round predictions. That'd be more interesting.
Yeah, because this
but-
round I think we all went with just the favorites for
Well-
every single one.
Well. things are going to get spicy later on. But we got to finish up with the championship game. I have IUP and Cal U. And much to the dismay of IUP students, I'm going to say Cal U upsets them in the championship game just because of this past season. Cal U has been the Achilles heel for IUP. And it's going to carry over into that game. I just have to say Cal U is going to take it.
Yeah, I got Cal U. I don't know what it is about Cal U. Cal U has
They're
been
a dominant program.
It's been the kryptonite of IUP women's team this year.
Let me put this into perspective a little bit. My sister plays on a high school basketball team, and they went to the Cal, and they were a bad team last year. Like they made the playoffs because of the terrible conference, but also they were under 500. I think 6 games under 500 or something like that. They went to a Cal U clinic this past summer, finished 4 games above 500, won the first round in playoffs. So not only can they do it on the court, they can pass it down to younger generations. So that's why Cal U overall has my opinion, or has my pick.
It's going to be a close
Jeff's
game.
giving me that evil look.
But it's going to be a close game.
It's going to be close, but
game.
I have to go with Cal U just because of the season.
Yeah, I'm just sorry.
Hold on, Jeff's fuming.
Don't y'all just remember having Carolyn Appleby on the show last week? Don't y'all just remember that, how we just had that episode? And she was so nice to us. She had nothing but positive things to say. She talked to her teammates. We talked to Coach. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves right now for rooting against.
I'm sorry.
Y'all should be ashamed.
You know, you sound like Stephen A. right now. You do.
That is just disgusting. I'm going to go with IUP. No, it's not disgusting. I understand why you guys went with that right there. Understandably so. Cal U has been IUP's kryptonite. However, I'm going to say IUP takes it. I think our bench is going to come in so helpful when the playoffs come around. I think they are actually going to I was very disappointed in the last game how we did not see more of Anna Holland in the Seton Hill game because her shooting.
Well, I know who I was excited to see though.
Courtney Alexander stepped up.
Courtney Alexander had
a big way.
Hell of a game.
I was about to say she stepped up in a big way, but I'm like, why did Anna Holland not come in if we were struggling from 3? I'm like, why not sub her out Wallasick for Holland? I was surprised on that one, but still, I think our bench is going to come alive, and I think we've played them twice now, and to me, it would be I don't think this IUP team can lose to the same team 3 times. I just don't see it happening.
Listen,
we're too talented.
I want to believe that too, but I have to play devil's advocate and pick Cal U.
Because when you go position,
it could go either way. It's one of those games where it could go either way, but
it pains me to see Cal U.
Well, dude, same.
It pains me to see Cal U.
When you go position for position, IUP has a stronger roster.
No
I like
doubt.
Coach McConnell, but what Cal U's so dangerous is all of their starters, I think, average close to 10 points. All their starters are dead. Like every single starter is
There's not one set star. If you notice,
they're a great
up and down.
chemistry team.
Up and down, yeah.
So
I don't know.
Oh, well. We got 2 for 1 for Cal U, Jeff being the lone one for IUP, but I think men's will be a little bit easier, so let's get into it now. A little bit of a rundown. On Monday in the first round, Pitt Johnstown beat Gannon 70-60. A lot of close competitions. Shippensburg just got past Lock Haven 71-70. Millersville could not come alive against Kutztown. Kutztown upset them 86-70, and Mercyhurst absolutely walloped Seton Hill 74-48. Now it sets up the quarterfinals for Wednesday, where Pitt Johnstown will take on IUP, Shippensburg will take on Westchester, Kutztown against East Stroudsburg, and Mercyhurst against Slippery Rock. A lot of good matchups here. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Pitt Johnstown IUP, easy. I think this is the easiest game out of all of them. IUP, without a doubt. They slammed them in the regular season. Pitt Johnstown was favorites coming into this season, and they completely can't completely drop the ball.
Closest victory against UPJ, 11 points.
So it's just, IUP.
To be quite honest, I don't even know if there's much more for Steven and I to say because you kind of covered it. I mean, IUP
really.
just they've walloped Pitt Johnstown this year. I mean, it's not even been close both times. And I mean, not to talk disparagingly on Pitt Johnstown, they do have an excellent basketball program. Obviously, to be in the PSAC basketball bracket right now, but just I'm gonna have to go with IUP easily.
Yep, IUP.
All right, that was easy.
I'm gonna go cut and dry.
All right. Next game, Shippensburg against the Westchester Rams. Shippensburg was actually an early season rank, I believe, in the national ranking, going at I think as high as number 13 this season.
They were as high as number 11 in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
And then the other poll they were as high as 13.
Still a pretty high ranked team, and to be nationally ranked, that's always a good thing. So, with that being said, despite IUP beating them earlier in the season, this game, I'm going to say Shippensburg beats Westchester. I just overall, Shippensburg, they're coming off a game against Lock Haven where they just got by them, but Shippensburg got that extra factor that they were nationally ranked, which really sways my vote toward them.
I'm going to go with Westchester. When IUP played them earlier this season, this way I saw they play, they come at you the entire game. They are just hustle the entire game. Like, their defense, they are just strong, fast. Because, like, I've said throughout the season, IUP, the men's team, and they've gotten better as the season's gone along, but they faced them mid-season when CMPR was covering the games, and just it's hard for them to keep up because they're one of those teams the first half, you got to be careful. They'll get up on you really quick in the first half to the point where the lead is just insurmountable because they are just playing. You make any mistakes, they're gonna capitalize on you. It's just I'm gonna go with Westchester.
I got Ship. I like Ship. I've seen them succeed the majority of the year. So I just from what I've seen this year, I just think that Shippensburg is a better team. They kind of fell apart towards the end of the season.
I was about to say, I saw them taper off a little bit.
Yeah,
towards the
right
end.
after that IUP game, they kind of they were a little steady, and then it was like a rocky road.
That's what I'm saying. That's
a rocky road.
Because normally I would have went with Shippensburg because they were the more accomplished team and the more decorated team at the beginning of the season. But just, I don't know, I have less faith in them as the season went on.
Well, I mean, again, it could go either way. Shippensburg, nationally ranked. Westchester, high up there in the Eastern Division, so it'll be good to see who plays out there. I would love to see an IUP Shippensburg rematch in the semifinals, but moving on to lower half of the bracket, Kutztown against East Stroudsburg. I got East Stroudsburg all the way, the number 1 seed in the East. Kutztown, they won by 16 against Millersville.
Do we really need to talk about this game? Because East Stroudsburg is just an overall dominant team.
Yeah, they're a juggernaut.
IUP only beat them by 1. They beat them by 1 in overtime. Yeah, granted, it was in East Stroudsburg, but just overall.
Yeah, but East Stroudsburg.
I mean, I'm going with East Stroudsburg. I'm not going to refute your point, but you're underselling Kutztown a little bit. I think Kutztown might be able to compete. I mean, they beat down Millersville. I mean, it was a 16-point win. I mean, it was just
Millersville.
I know, I'm not saying Millersville, but I mean, they were higher ranked than Kutztown. They actually upset them, not by much. I get it was only 1 rank. They were just right below them, but so I think we're underselling Kutztown. I think it's going to be a better game than you think it's going to be.
I hope so. I don't want to see a lousy game. I don't want to see
blowouts.
But speaking of Mercy, up next, since we all three of us picked East Stroudsburg.
Good transition.
Mercyhurst Slippery Rock, in my opinion, the biggest game to watch, just because of the not only the rivalry with IUP, but overall.
Oh, thank goodness both of them are playing each other.
I would not want to face them twice.
Because I remember when the brackets didn't come out yet, we were like, oh goodness, we're gonna just looking at all the teams that we have to play against. We're like, oh gosh, we're gonna have to play Slippery Rock. We're gonna have to play Mercyhurst, and then we look at the bracket like, oh,
it kind of works out in our favor a little bit.
It definitely does because we're at least getting one of our major competitors knocked out.
Thank goodness.
But here I'm gonna start ruffling some feathers a little bit. Slippery Rock at the first round bye. Mercyhurst again. Walt Seton Hill 74-48. I'm going to say that Mercyhurst beats Slippery Rock and upsets them. If you let Tristan Pratapis and Nick Lang get on a roll early and you let Justin Maxwell do his thing, it's smooth sailing for the Lakers.
Yeah, I got Mercyhurst. Slippery Rock, I don't know. Micah Till, great player. Phenomenal player. Should be PSAC, in that PSAC, probably first team, second team. But Mercyhurst, overall faster team. And I think they're going to play to Slippery Rock's weaknesses.
And the fact that Slippery Rock is one of those teams where if Micah Till's hurt, they're done. We noticed that against IUP. But, Jeff, I know you're starting to
smile.
You're breathing heavy. You're sweating. What's going on?
Oh, I'm not sweating. I'm just a lot of that sounded very familiar, boys. It sounds a lot like some of the stuff I've talked about but right before the show. But, yeah, no, I completely agree. But there's also one thing I want to add.
Bluff.
Bluff. Okay. It's all friends. We're all good here. Mercyhurst, there's one other thing I got to add, though. Like, their clutch factor. When we played them, they hit a last-second buzzer beater against IUP.
Pratapis.
I was about to say, Pratapis hit one of the most clutch shots I've seen. And, yes, I know we allowed him too much space. Mercyhurst.
We allowed him too much space in 7 seconds.
Yeah, and just to me, but still to hit a last-second shot like that takes some clutch. And Maxwell, and I talked about this earlier in the season, IUP has a hard time with fast guards. It just he's so quick with the ball, and I believe he's the second leading scorer on that team. So,
Maxwell, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to look out for him, and I know he may be on the scoring column and people don't see him as the first one, but he is definitely a strong option you got to look out for.
Well, I guess so wait, you're picking Mercyhurst then?
Yep.
All right, so all three Mercyhurst now. Championship game. It's exam and semifinals and championship game now. I have IUP taking on Ship, IUP overcoming them, just because IUP, they kick in the X factor. When it comes to the playoffs, I don't think we really need to go much in detail about this game, so I have IUP.
IUP beat Shippensburg the first time. They're going to do it again the second time.
Jeff?
I got IUP beating Westchester.
Like I said, no explanation needed. Next game, East Stroudsburg, Mercyhurst. Now, here's where things get really rocky. Mercyhurst upsets East Stroudsburg. You know what? You can call me wrong all you want. After they came back and beat IUP on that buzzer beater, granted, IUP allowed them so much space and so much time, but come on, Mercyhurst topped one. They ended IUP's perfect season. How? That's how I see it. They ended IUP's perfect season. They know how to come in. They come on top against top teams. So Mercyhurst, you earned my vote for that.
East Stroudsburg. East Stroudsburg is overall a way better team than Mercyhurst. East Stroudsburg is going to win it easily by at least 10.
Wow. Guys, this is a lot of pressure. I'm shaking a little bit right now. Mercyhurst. I'm going to go Mercyhurst.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Steven. I know East Stroudsburg is a major competitor right now, and I know you had them going far, but just from watching Mercyhurst play, they're a tough team, and people are underselling them. I really think Mercyhurst is a good team. I was telling Jake all today, and I know you and I, when we were in our comm class, are debating between Stroudsburg and Mercyhurst, because you said you're like, I want to, but Stroudsburg just shows me something different. I know we were talking about that earlier today, but
it'll sound good.
I gotta go with Mercyhurst.
Yeah, once it happens, it's going to be up for discussion. So hopefully, we'll see how it is. It's going to be an exciting bottom bracket half. But championship game predictions. All right, guys, we're going to do something cool. On 3, we're going to say our pick. 1, 2, 3. IUP. And that's where we'll leave it off. IUP taking the men's bracket. Cal, you taking the women's bracket. It's going to be a tough
game.
Oh, I think it's going to be one of the most entertaining games of the year.
Championship games are always
regardless of if it's Mercyhurst or East Stroudsburg.
Because you could actually see that I had East Stroudsburg. East Stroudsburg was written down, and then I'm like, no, I'm going to be a homer for this one. I'm going to cross them out.
Wait, so you'll be homer for the men's team?
I'm being realistic.
Guys, you really don't think the women's team can beat Cal?
We can argue about this after the show. We can argue about this after the show and what happens going on in the playoffs.
The sports don't stop after the episode.
Well, we only have a few minutes left, so we want to do a few plugs and such. As always, subscribe to TPSN on YouTube. New episodes released every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. on the Penn.org and TPSN on YouTube. Always check out new issues of the Penn, releasing every Tuesday and Friday morning. It's been a great few issues. Our content's been awesome. I just released an article about top 10 bathrooms on campus for men. That's
great article, by the way. Read that.
I guess you could say it wasn't.
Wow, dude, that joke was like that deserves to be in the toilet. That was horrible.
Anyway,
I also wrote an article though too.
Dude, you got a potty mouth. You got to watch it.
Sorry. Anyway, IUP Sports Commentary Crew. That's us 3. Have fun with that, and also follow the Penn Sports Network on Twitter at @official_TPSN for all news and updates regarding Crimson Conversion and your 3 favorite commentators. We're looking to have Cobo Diaz on for another Off the Court in a few weeks, so definitely check back for that. It's going to be sometime after the basketball season just so he can have time to prep for it, we can have time to prep for it, and we can enjoy our spring break without stress. But from all of us here at TPSN, thank you for tuning in to Bracketology. Hopefully it works out the way we said it, and we'll have our reactions after the playoffs. And then we'll try to analyze Atlantic Regionals before they happen. If not, we'll recap it all. But again, from all of us here, we'll see you next time here on the Crimson Conversion. Take care, everyone. Yeah!
From field 5 of 11, so IUP needs to do a better job of tightening down and spreading the floor.
Walsick driving, Courtney Alexander for 3, and she answers right back on her own 3 game.
Splish splash, we got 3s going back and forth. IUP has not hit their last 4 field goals.
Chucky Humphreys has it, do it, he did, and he hung on for extra effect in front of this crowd. Chucky Humphreys slamming it down with all the authority he has.
For the early 3 to get some defenders to draw them off Cobo.
I don't know how Foster got that, but he somehow wound it up in his hand as Cobo slams it down with authority. He did it.
And the Spanish Canary soars in and throws it down with authority.
Flight.